Welcome to Camera Basics for the Sony A7R V. We're going to cover a few simple things in here, but also a few important things. We'll talk about the type of camera this is, the sensor that's in it, a few of the primary controls, and how to set the file format, which is, of course, very important. So this is, of course, a mirrorless camera. We've got lots of interchangeable lenses. We'll talk about those a little bit later. Built-in aperture to each of the lenses helps control the amount of light coming into the camera. Light's trying to get in to the image sensor, but it needs to deal with the shutter unit. There are two parts, the first curtain and the second curtain to the shutter. Now, normally these are left open so that the light can get to the image sensor so that you can see what's going on either through the monitor or the electronic viewfinder in the viewfinder. And so this is what's happening when you are looking through the camera. Now, when it comes time to actually shoot a photo, there's some movements with the shutter that needs to happen. Now, in the standard mode, the shutter will close so that the sensor can prepare to capture an image. It will then open. This is your exposure time, and then the second curtain will come in and close. And it does so in this manner so that each pixel is exposed for exactly the same amount of time. And so those are your basic components in a mirrorless camera, and we'll be talking a lot more about many of these as we get into the class. Now, of course, one of the most important things in any camera is the image area, and the sensor size in this particular camera is a very large one, not the largest on the market, but one of the larger sizes. This is based off of 35mm film. Now, there's nothing perfect about 35mm film, but it was a very popular size film for a variety of reasons. And in continuation of that, it is also very popular in the digital world as well. And so we call it a full frame camera. Sony also makes some APS-C size sensors and cameras and lenses that go along with it in a different parallel system. And we'll talk a little bit about those when we get to the lens sections. And there are other companies that make cameras that are of smaller size sensors that we're not going to get into here. But this is using a large full frame sensor in it. Now, basic controls on this: when you turn the camera on and off, there is a clear cover in front of the image sensor that will do an ultrasonic shake in order to knock dust off the sensor. And this will keep your sensor clean, which means that when you shoot, you'll get exactly what you want on there. If it does get dirty, you may need to manually clean it. We'll talk about that a little bit deeper into this class. Shutter release for taking photos, pretty obvious. And we have a variety of dials. We actually have three kind of on or near the top of the camera, front dial, and two dials towards the back. One of them has a lock, one of them doesn't. Towards the back of the camera, you'll be able to see whether you are in the stills, movie, or S&Q type movies. And this is arguably one of the most important controls on the camera because it very much changes how the camera is capturing data. And so for a lot of this class, we're going to be in the still mode. And we do have some sections on movies, so we will talk more specifically about the movie options as well as the slow and quick movie options. The control wheel on the back of the camera is also a left, right, up, down controller, and there is a center button in there that's going to be used for confirming menu settings and so forth. And so you'll be able to use a variety of these controls for navigating through the menu, moving the focusing point around, and a variety of other things. The multi-selector is primarily used for moving the focusing point around, but you can navigate through the menu as well as many other areas. And it is also a button as well as a joystick, so be aware that you can push straight in on it as well. And of course, the screen on it itself is a touch screen, so this is going to be responsive to typical types of gestures of swiping and tapping and so forth. And so you can navigate through the menu and move focusing points and do a lot of other things with the touchscreen as well. There is nothing that you have to do with the touchscreen, so if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. But if you do like it, you can turn it on and use it for a variety of techniques. All right, now the shutter release, like most cameras, is a two-stage device. When you press halfway down, it activates the metering system, turns on the autofocus. It also wakes the camera up, should the camera be asleep. And if you happen to be buried in the menu someplace looking at something and you realize that you suddenly want to take a photo, all you have to do is press halfway down on the shutter release and it will automatically kick you back into a standard shooting mode. And so it's a good thing to remember if you ever get lost or it takes too long to back out of the rabbit hole of a menu system that you've got yourself into. and then you press all the way down, of course, to release the shutter. Now that focusing halfway down is something that not everyone likes. Some people like doing what's called back button focusing. And the key to doing that is going into the focus menu and turning off AF with shutter. And then it will no longer focus when you press halfway down. And this is something that we'll talk about a little bit later on in the focusing section. All right, let's talk about image quality and the file format that we have set in the camera. We have two basic options. We have raw images if we want to collect all of the original information that we shot with. That gives us the widest versatility later on down the road. Gives us the full tonal range, the full color range, and allows us to make as many adjustments as possible to the file. Or we can shoot in a JPEG format, which is a lot more easily shared. It's a smaller file size, it takes up less space, you get more images on a memory card, but it's a compressed format and it's not giving you all the information that you might get out of a RAW. Now this camera has another option. In exchange for the RAW, you can have a HEIF format. This is, in my opinion, it's the new and improved JPEG. It's like a JPEG in that it is compressed information, but it's a much more advanced compression system where you end up with a bit more dynamic range and a smaller file size, which is really nice. But it is not compatible with all the different software and devices that JPEG is. And so you got to make sure that it works for you in what you're going to do. So getting in to set the RAW or other option is the file format, one of the most important settings to make on your particular camera. So first off, a lot of people are going to be shooting this camera in RAW. It gets you the full 60 megapixels of resolution, so it gives you a ton of data to work with. Now, there are different types of RAW. So we have uncompressed RAW, which gives you the full amount of the information that is being collected. We have a compressed version, which is going to be quite a bit smaller. And there is some information that is discarded when it goes into a compressed file, and so it reduces the file size by quite a bit. Now, there is also something called a lossless compressed, and this is a very sophisticated way of compressing but not losing any important information. And so this is one that I generally recommend quite a bit, but I will have some examples for you when we get later on in the class to the menu sections to see exactly what these look like. Now, with the lossless compressed, there is also a medium and small version, which means less resolution. It's a 26 and a 15 megapixel image when we go down to the medium and the small. However, I'm going to tease you a little bit here. There's some really important information about shooting the medium and small that I'm going to tell you about later on in the class when we dive a little bit deeper into the menu and these options that you can set in there. And so we do have a variety of RAW options, and I'll show you examples and we'll talk about it later. But that's a great option for anybody who is pretty serious about wanting to get the most that this camera has to offer. Now, if you want, you can set the camera to just shoot JPEGs, or you can have it shoot HEIF. There'll be a separate setting for that. I'll talk about it when I'm done talking about this particular setting. And so these are available in 60, 26, and 15 megapixels. The file sizes that I have listed on screen over on the right-hand side of the screen, that is for a JPEG image. HEIF images will be a little bit different. We'll talk about that in a moment. So you have different resolutions to shoot with, but you also have different qualities or compressions that you can shoot with as well. And so if you know that you only need a JPEG image, you first choose the amount of resolution that you need, and then you can choose the quality setting according to what's going on with that particular image and what your needs are. And so there's different compression options that will reduce the file size, but also reduce the quality of the image a little bit in order to get to that smaller file size. And so it's really a matter of trade-offs and what works for what you're going to do. Now you can also combine these options and have RAW plus JPEG or RAW plus HEIF if you choose to shoot the HEIF image here. And this is going to give you two files every time you take a single photograph. And you can set up RAW to shoot the specific type of RAW that you want, and you can set JPEG up to shoot the particular type of JPEG that you want. This is not something that I recommend for most people because I would recommend RAW for most people to get the most that this camera has to offer. It's a very high resolution camera. People are going to be shooting a lot of detailed things and really wanting to get the most out of it. And the RAW image is going to allow you to do that better than any of the other options. But there are some people who are shooting an event where they want the full raw image, but they also need a smaller file that is very versatile. Maybe it's going to be going to somebody else for immediate use and you're going to use the raw images later. And so if you have a special purpose in mind, then RAW plus JPEG can work very well in that regard. And you can, as I say, have it set up to shoot RAW plus HEIF. There's going to be a JPEG HEIF RAW switch that you can choose that we'll talk about next after this. So for most people shooting this camera, yeah, they're probably going to want to be shooting it in the RAW, but there are some good other options if they fit your needs. Now, JPEG and HEIF, there is an option in here for switching between one or the other. And so you can choose whether the JPEG or HEIF option will be in your file formats by coming in here and selecting. Now, there are actually three options. There's one for JPEG and two for HEIF. And the differences between these is getting into a category of topic called chroma subsampling. We'll talk more about this in section 9 on the movies, but this is describing the detail of which the color is being recorded in the camera. And JPEG is a 420 format. It's an older compression system these days. It's a very common format, and that's the big reason why I recommend and use JPEG is it's available in all the software and everyone can work with a JPEG image. It's a fairly modest file size, and so it's pretty easy to work with. Now, if you choose to shoot HEIF 420, well, that's kind of similar to JPEG in many respects, but it's a more advanced compression system, and you're going to end up with a file size that's about half the file size of a JPEG. And so it can really save a lot of space on memory cards and on hard drives. Or you could choose a higher quality HEIF system, 422 setup, and this is going to have less color compression, so you're going to get more color accuracy, greater dynamic range, at a slight cost to your file size. It's going to make it just a little bit bigger in there. And so those are your options in here. As of the time of the recording of this particular class, for most people, I'm still recommending JPEG just because it's so common and not everyone and everything is using the HEIF options out there. It is technically better. I understand that. And when it becomes available and commonplace, then I'll probably switch over to recommending that over that old JPEG thing that nobody uses anymore. And so it's nice to have both in here, so you can either go with the new wave or the classic version that seems to work with everything. So what I'd like to do now is kind of just pop into the menu, show you around some of these options in here, dive into the menu system. I'm going to go to the left and go up to our camera tab where we have these options in here. So under image quality and recording, the first option is actually JPEG or HEIF, and the next one is in image qualities. So up here in the JPEG and HEIF options, you can see these options that we talked about before. So if I was to select HEIF right here and come down to image quality, you'll see that it says HEIF here, and I can shoot RAW plus HEIF. Or if I just want to shoot RAW, I can do that as well. I'll come back to some of those other settings here in just a moment. But as I say, right now, a lot of people are still shooting JPEGs, and so I'm going to go with JPEG for right now. And when I come back down to image quality, and I go into this category here, when I choose the file format option, you have RAW plus JPEG. So normally I would just shoot RAW. If I had a special event where I needed some JPEGs along with the raw images that I wanted to use, then I would set this. There's a few times where I might just shoot JPEG. If I knew I had just some really simple photos, I didn't want to mess with the RAW, I just wanted to get them out of the camera, JPEG for immediate use, I could see myself setting that there. But most of the time, I'm going to be using this camera in the RAW format. Now, next up is the RAW file type. I talked a little bit about this, and I'll talk more about it later on. You can choose from different options in here. Uncompressed, which gets you a very large file size. I don't think that is necessary for most people. You're probably fine with compressed. I've seen very good quality images from that. Doesn't seem to be a problem. Lossless compressed is really not much bigger than compressed, and you're not losing any data. So that's kind of my first choice right there. There is a medium and a small option. I'm going to warn you against those right now. Details to follow later on in the class. So I'm going to leave mine at lossless compressed for right now. Now, if we had selected RAW plus JPEG, RAW and JPEG here, we can come down to JPEG settings and we can choose the compression standard on that JPEG. And so I typically like to shoot these as the best quality possible. You will get different file sizes, of course. And if you are wanting different size JPEGs, this is the resolution that are recorded. If you know that you're not going to need much more, you can choose a smaller size here, so whatever fits your needs there. Now you would normally press OK, but if you do want to come over here to record media settings, this is going to describe where those file types are being stored. We're not going to go into that right now, but we will get into that in due time in this particular class. So hopefully you got your camera set up at least to get going correctly on this, because we've got a lot more to go, and that covers you on your camera basics for now.